Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, Queen, to another episode of the Creatress of Freedom. How are you? How are you? I hope you're well wherever you are coming in from today in the world. Maybe it's good afternoon, maybe it's good evening, maybe it's good morning. Oh, I'm so happy to be dropping on in with you today. Today's episode could potentially ruffle some feathers. So I'm just going to call it out today because it's something that I see a lot as a coach myself and also as a student in many containers. And I think that it's a topic that we need to talk about and that we need to address. So, if it resonates for you and you feel like it could be shared amongst your community, especially if you are in the online space or you're someone that chooses to constantly reinvest in yourself, then I think that this is a really beautiful episode that everyone should be tuning into, if I say so myself. All right, let's get into it. So, I want to talk a little bit about today something that I'm noticing a lot in the online space around hiring coaches and hiring mentors. And, I'm all for investing in yourself. Like, I actually truly believe that's a big value of mine. And I will always invest in myself. And I have done for probably since I started being in business, if I be honest. Probably not so much when I had my home salon, but once I started doing network marketing, I was constantly in personal development classes and courses because the company provided them for us. So I think it probably started from there, which would have been when I bought my first house with my ex back then in Bendigo. So I'm trying to think of the timeline then. It probably would have been like since 20. I think we bought our house in like 2012. I don't know, time flies. I think it was about 2012. Anyway, so that would have been when I really would have started going on a deeper path and a deeper journey of investing in myself. And to date, I reckon I would be over the $1 million now in my own personal and professional development of my skill set like I said, from professional, from constantly investing in myself, from a professional point of view with business coaches and business mentors, and then also from a um, personal development as well of like investing in therapy, different modalities, plant-based medicines, all of that kind of stuff, retreats. I definitely would be. I reckon if I'm not over, I would be very close to $1 million in my development. So I'm all for it, right? I think that it's really important, and I think it's one of the quickest ways that you can collapse time. If I didn't invest in my very first mentor, that was my largest investment, which was in 2017. Yeah, 2017, I think it was. I invested in a 12-month container that was $24,000. And it was the most money I had ever invested into a mentor. And that mentor, I went on to spend years and years in a row, where I was investing like I think the most that I was investing was like $108,000 a year just with one mentor. So I'm all for it. And I think, like I said, it is the easiest way to collapse time. It is the easiest way to get your goals achieved because you are being supported with the right people, right? You are getting that guidance from people that have walked the path that you clearly desire to walk, right? That's why you've invested in them, because they have shown you that they've got similar qualities, they've got similar values in their life, and that's why you feel like you can trust them because they're where you want to be. And when you invest in someone like that, they've done all the trials and the tribulations, and they've gone through all of that work. And now they're giving you essentially the blueprint, the condensed version of that. And that's what you're paying for. You're paying to save yourself time and money, and you're paying to have someone navigate you through your blocks and your limiting beliefs as well. And so something that I'm seeing happen a lot recently is this, how do I put it? It's almost like chasing the shiny new object, right? I feel like so many people are looking for the quick fix when it comes to investing in mentorship. They're not in it for the long term. They want to invest and they want to see the return on investment within the first week, right? Or they're not prepared to do the work that needs to be done, or they're not prepared to show up for the coaching calls that are being provided, or they're not prepared to go through the online curriculum that is provided. They just think that because they've invested the money that they should get the results. And it does not work like that. And because what then I'm seeing happen is they're not necessarily getting the results that they were hoping from jumping into this container that they've invested in. So then they start looking for the next shiny new object, the next shiny new course, the next shiny new program, right? The next shiny new mentor. And they're so keen and they're so eager to jump into mentorship with that person, thinking that that person's going to have all the answers for them. But I want you to remember, if you are someone that does do this, I want you to remember that that previous mentor that you invested in, you also felt that way as well, right? You also felt that way when you first started, before you started working with them. And so to give you an example of this, so in one of the containers that I'm a part of as a student, one of the babes in there was saying, I have this client who has invested in me and, is not showing up to calls and is not showing up to, XYZ. And she has gone off and is gloating that she's invested in this other mentor who is way more expensive. And I just think that that's not fair because she hasn't finished out her contract with me. Anyway, everyone kind of came in and had their say and was like, that's not fair, like call that out, like that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. But as the conversation went on deeper, what we actually found out, as she was sharing more about this, what we found out is that this particular client, the reason that this particular mentor was really upset and was bringing it to the group to get feedback and help was because her client, who had reinvested in somebody else, still owed her money on the container that she had invested in, right? There was money that had not been paid for the work that she had delivered. And so I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I feel like this mentor has every right to be upset, because if you've delivered on something and you've performed it and you've upheld your end of the deal, and this person is telling you that they don't have the money to be paying off your service fees. She had extended her payment plan, right? And so she was saying she didn't have the money, but yet she's just gone and dropped a few $1,000s with this other mentor. Like, that is not okay. That is not okay. Because you had a commitment with this person as a mentor, and you should have seen that out. And if you were not financially improving your situation, or you weren't getting more clients, or you weren't getting insert whatever the goal is that you were trying to achieve, then you should have had the courage to speak to that mentor to ask you for help. You should have been showing up for the coaching calls that that mentor was providing. You should have gone through all of the course content that was provided for you. Because remember, at one stage, you thought that this person had all the answers for you. And so, if you are a person that constantly keeps chopping and changing mentors and you still don't get the results, I'm sorry, but it's not the mentor. It is you. You're the problem here. You're the common denominator. If you constantly are investing in different programs and different containers and you're not getting the results, then maybe you need to take a look at yourself. Maybe you need to start questioning, what role am I playing in this? What support do I actually need? And am I investing in mentorships that are actually not really giving me the support that I'm actually looking for? Maybe you need to get clearer on what you actually need support in and really figuring out, is that the right mentorship for you before you go and jump in? Because if you still owe money to a mentor or something that you have had delivered to you from their end and you're not upholding your end of the agreement, where else is that showing up in your life? Because I always say, how you do one thing is how you do all things, right? And so if you are being this flaky kind of person that is like showing up this way, where you haven't finished your obligations for a previous client, for a previous mentor, and now you're investing in another mentor without closing out that, guess what? You're going to be the exact match for those types of clients to come into your space as well, because that's the frequency and the vibration that you're running at. So if you want to improve your business and your standards, then it starts with you, because you're literally attracting who you are being. And so if you're being this person that is constantly got payment plans or constantly not taking care of your obligations, even if it's not from a mentor point of view, maybe it is from a tax point of view and you're not paying your taxes, but yet you're investing in all of these mentorship containers. Yes, a mentorship container can help you, right? But I don't believe that we should be over investing what we actually are able to. And I do think that this actually does also come down to the coach and the mentor of not just taking on any Tom, Dick, and Harry, right? I think that we need to, as a coaching industry, I think we need to get a little bit more, stricter, a little bit more. We need to vet a little bit more and not just assume or just let anybody into the container. Because something else that I've noticed in one of the containers that I'm in is so many women are coming after their first month and they're like, I'm really scared. I don't know how I'm going to be able to make this work. I didn't have the money to put down for this. So I put it on my credit card and I'm hoping and I'm praying and, but they're so early on in business. They don't even have a business yet. And they've joined this mentorship to get them up off the ground. And I'm not saying that this is the case for everybody, because we don't know everyone's financial situation. Maybe some people had inheritance, things like that. But a theme that I'm seeing and what I wanted to bring to the forefront is that it's great that you might see the determination that you have, but I think as students, I think we need to ask more questions. We need to get clearer, is this person actually going to be supporting me in the direction that I need the support? And if that's not going to be the case, then we need to find a different mentor that's going to. Because I honestly think that a lot of the women that are coming into the spaces with the mentorship containers that I'm in as a student, I think they need a little bit more hand-holding, right? They need a little bit more structure on getting the foundations in place. And when you're in a container where there's 200 plus women, you're not going to get that type of level of support, You need a little bit more like closer proximity with your mentor to iron out all of those things and get your foundations in place. So to go ahead and invest, a $3,000 a month when you might not necessarily have the cash flow that actually produces that, but then you also don't have the cash flow to repay those payments, I feel like that's a disservice to the client from a coach's perspective. Saying, oh, you'll be fine, jump on in, like you can't not fly, we've got this, you can make all the money. Yes, you can, and I do believe that, and I do believe time is an illusion. But I think from a coaching perspective, we as coaches have got a little bit slack, and we need to be a little bit more on the vetting side of things so that we can actually support these people that are investing in us. Yeah, so that we can actually help them, because it shouldn't just be about how many people can I bring into this container. It should be about how many people in this container can I actually help. And if we can't help multiple people by building out this huge big container, then I don't, personal opinion here, but I don't think we should be running them, because it's a disservice to the client. Now, like I said, this could ruffle some feathers, and I've spoken from the student point of view, and I've also spoken from the coach's point of view. And this that I'm seeing in this online space is also such a big reason as to why I'm questioning, do I want to be a part of the online space? Because I do know the worth of what I bring to the table. I have invested so much money into my own personal growth to actually help you have incredible results. But you also, as a student, need to be willing to do the work. You need to be willing to put the necessary changes. You need to be willing to go to the discomfort. You need to be willing to take the constructive criticism. And if you're not willing from a student perspective, you're wasting your money. You are wasting your money. Do not invest in mentorship, because at the end of the day, this is your business. And only you can make the changes. A mentor can give you all the blueprint. They can give you everything that has worked for them. But if you don't implement them, and then also implement them in a way that feels aligned to you, you are going to blame the mentor. You're going to be like, it was the biggest waste of money, right? I've invested lots of times over the years now, where I was promised something and I didn't get what I wanted, right? Or I didn't get what I was promised or what was supposed to be delivered. And I could sit there and blame those mentors and say they lied to me. Their marketing didn't match what they delivered on. No, at the end of the day, it was up to me. I have a responsibility. I'm part to blame here, because maybe I needed to ask more questions. Maybe I needed to get clear on what support I actually needed, and then ask those questions. Is this going to cover that? And if it's not going to cover that, then maybe I need to find someone else, right? Your results are based on you and how you show up. So if you are someone that has invested in mentorship and you are spending money where you still owe money to mentors, please don't do that. That is so low. That is such a low blow for someone that has said that they're going to show up for you and does show up for you, and you choose not to show up for yourself, and you choose not to show up to the coaching calls, and you choose to avoid the communication channels, and you choose to avoid your sisterhood that can support you and nurture you and help you through that. That's so not fair. So not fair. So I wanted to bring this to the attention, and I've sat with this. I actually have had this thought about bringing this conversation for a few weeks, because I was like, is this my trigger? Like, am I feeling triggered by this? But I genuinely think that it really is just a conversation that needs to be had. If you have paid money for something and you still owe money, and that mentor has been more than lenient to allow you to go on payment plans or to extend, or maybe you missed a payment here or there, and the mentor has been like, okay, yeah, cool, like I'm making adjustments, and I'm crossing my own boundaries here because I see where you're coming from. And then you go and you invest in other courses or other containers. Like that's a big slap in the face, I believe. And I want you to think about that from your perspective. If you're in business, no matter what business you're in, if you had done a service on a client and they said to you, I can't pay you today, I will have to wait until next week. And you're like, oh, okay, radio. But then you see that that person just booked a trip away and paid for, their next holiday. How would that make you feel? You would be like, what the fuck? Like, that's not fair. Yeah. And so I think you as a student, you need to think about how would you feel if you were the one being paid here? Because I truly believe, like, whilst everyone was like saying to this person that, her client went off and invested in someone else, and, they were like, that's not fair, call her out. I think really what it comes down to is that I truly believe that that mentor has every right to feel the way that she feels because she's delivered on the service, and the contract is finished, and now this client is still owing her money, but instead of getting that debt paid off, she's investing it in the next new shiny object, thinking that it's going to be the thing that is going to give her the results. But the truth is that it's rarely the strategy that's giving you the results. So much of it is the emotional and the energetic side of things. It's your deep core beliefs, it's your wounding, it's everything that shows up on where your limiting beliefs are. Those are the things that are stopping you from being able to have the results that you actually want. And so a lot of it is based on you doing the deeper inner work, not necessarily just rushing out and buying the next course, hoping that that's the thing that's going to be the thing that changes the things, right? It's really about going deeper and figuring out, why does this pattern keep happening? Why do you keep investing and bailing halfway through? And really sitting with that for yourself, because I think that you'll find a lot of answers in that space. So I know that this topic will have ruffled some feathers from both sides, because maybe you're a coach listening or a businesswoman that's listening, or maybe you're that student that is the one that keeps reinvesting and hasn't paid out your past dues, right? And if you are feeling triggered by that, that's great. I'm glad that you feel triggered, because it means that I've activated something within you that is asking to be looked at, that is showing you that that's not your true authentic self, right? If you are feeling triggered by the conversation, then there's your answer to your next level of work, because it actually says more about where you're at than it does where I'm at. So I hope that this has helped you see things from different perspectives and really allows you to, number one, look deeply at yourself, first of all, I think is a really key factor. And number two, really get clear on like what type of support do you actually need, because I think that that's such an important question, and it's so easy to just, when we're in such survival mode of like, oh, this is the answer, like the marketing just speaks to your soul, right? And you're like, that's me, this person can help, this person can help. And so we just are in survival mode and we're like, yep, let's just throw it in. And, you throw your cash in and your hard-earned money that goes into it, or maybe it goes on credit. And before you know it, maybe it really wasn't the most suitable fit for what it was that you were looking for, which is why all of my programs have an application form, and one of the questions is based on how much money you make, because I don't want you to come into my space and feel like it's going to be a financial pressure or a financial burden. I want to know where you're at, how willing you are to do the work, because I truly know that all of the things that I teach you and the strategies that I give you will give you the ability to make money. However, I also, as you'll see if you've ever filled out any of my applications, the questions are deep, right? And the questions are deep because it shows me where you're at. And if I feel like I'm not the right fit for you, then I will 100% let you know that, because I have been that student that has had my money taken when that I believe that mentor knew that they potentially were not really the right fit in what it was that I was looking for. So I hope that this just kind of gets this conversation talking and people start talking about it more, because I think that we both can learn from this, from a student perspective, but then also from a coach perspective as well. If you have anything that you want to add to this, or you want to come share with me, I would love to hear from you. Please come and share your perspectives with me. If you're interested in working together, you will see all of the applications below in different ways that we can connect. And if you're not sure, come and shoot me a DM or send an email to the team, and we will reach out and let you know what might be the best suitable fit for you. I trust that you know yourself, and I trust that you know whether you are ready to do this deeper inner work or not. And I love you dearly, and I hope that you have a beautiful day. Enjoy wherever it is that you are in the world, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye for now.